Well, hello there, assurance heroes, and welcome to the A-Plan podcast. A is for assurance, and this is your weekly audit and risk talk show. He's Emre, the tech guy.
He's Andy, the communication guy.
All right, guys. So this is our first one back after the Christmas break. Happy New Year. We're finally in 2021. And what's our subject? We've got mail. So we've had a question. Our first reader question for the new year. How exciting is this? So we've had a question from Osman Samutolu, the Information Security and IT Governance Team Leader at Sun Express. And Osman, we love Sun Express. Blue skies, warm seas, sandy beaches, ice cold beer on the beach in Turkey. Mwah! We love what's not to. Here we are. I mean, I'm locked up in London.
And I'm here in Paris. It's freezing.
Paris. It's freezing in here. Raining.
Save us, Osman.
Save us, Osman. Save us, Sun Express. So shout out to Osman and the IT security and governance team at Sun Express. Big shout out to you guys. So here's Osman's mail. This is his question. He says, as expected, very good podcast. Thank you. You're welcome, Osman. I like Osman. He's a very smart guy.
He's a great guy.
What a smart guy. What a great guy. So the question is this. He says, here's the question. The most challenging and fun part of writing an audit report is cooking up a tasty risk-aware message rather than control gap fear-mongering. So you highlighted the importance of good finding titles. We did indeed. That was in Series 1, Episode 1. Check out the link below in the first comment. Then he says, what are the other ingredients required in this risk-aware recipe? Well, chef de cuisine. Let's get right onto that topic right now.
All three of you are pathetic. You don't care.
I care,
You're
Chef.
way behind and you haven't got a fucking clue. Can we work together as a team?
I would say, we need to start with the client. We need to start with the reader. You want to write in a way that makes them want to read. But if you're not doing that, your communication's self-destructive, right? You're not going to get them to connect. For me, one of the important things that you've got to do as well is really try to understand the psychology of the reader. Like, what's going on for them? How do they feel? I mean, ultimately, I think it's something like this. You know, your client, your auditee, they go to work, open up their computer, open up Outlook, hit send and receive. There it is in the inbox. Draft audit report, right? Mm-hmm. How are they going to feel? They're going to feel stressed. Just like, look, it doesn't matter who you are. This is like when you were back at school. You've studied hard for your exam. You know things inside out. You went to the exam. Everything went well. You think you've done well. But when the teacher comes with the test papers to hand them out, you get nervous. You get those butterflies in your stomach, right? So it's highly likely that your reader, your auditee, your client, is going to be having an acute stress response. The amygdala triggers, this is potentially a threat. They're not thinking clearly. So what do they want to know? What's their psychology? There's three things, right? The first thing is, did I pass? The second thing is, what's wrong? And the third thing is, what else do I need to do now? This is your reader's psychology. So did I pass? This is the audit grading. So when we come to the findings, really, we talked about this before. This is the finding titles, right?
Sure.
As soon as, like the psychology of the reader, as soon as they understand the grading, then they want to know what's wrong. So they're going to turn the page, read those finding titles. And it needs to answer those questions. It needs to tell them what's wrong.
Do I really look like a guy with a plan? You know what I am? I'm a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I caught it. I just do things.
The last thing, as we've come along to, is this whole idea of the recommendations, right? The corrective actions, getting it cured, getting it fixed. We've not talked about the recommendations before on a previous episode, but I think it's hugely important. And I think it's very often not done well.
Well, I've seen in many cases some vague and unclear messages like management should consider, or the audit team believes that.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah.
you simply undermine your professionalism, your competency.
Yeah. It's
Because-
not, yeah, I mean, I think the wording of this is really important because I see this a lot as well when I'm reviewing the reports. So consider implementing a process or consider documenting or, right. The problem with that is you're going to come back and check whether or not these actions are closed.
Yes.
But there's nothing to check there. We need something concrete. It's like if you say document the procedure or implement a policy or whatever, there's something that you can go back and see, is it there or not? Is there some kind of physical evidence of this? But consider. They can easily say, yeah, I considered it, didn't bother. Thanks.
You'd better tell the captain we've got to land as soon as we can. This woman has to be gotten to a hospital.
A hospital? What is it?
It's a big building with patients, but that's not important right now.
Allow me to make an analogy, Andy.
Go for it.
Well, imagine that you're a general practitioner, okay? And you
Yeah.
carry out a medical examination of a patient.
Yeah, thank God
so-
I'm not nowadays, but
I knock on the wood. So, so although the responsibility of a general practitioner changed from one country to another, but at minimum, the practitioner, he is responsible to identify and present to his or her patients the potential illness at an early stage of of that problem. So, as a doctor, when you examine a patient having the early symptoms, having the early symptoms of developing a cancer, let's say, you're responsible to pay his attention to this potential threat ahead. So, but if in the face of this imminent threat, if you advise him to have, I don't know, a plastic surgery for his nose because she is not happy with her nose, your patient risks to die with an aesthetic nose.
yeah,
right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it's gonna be. You can have an open coffin. It's gonna be a beautiful corpse.
So from this point, I want to come back to Osman's question. We may be a good doctor to identify the symptoms that your patient has, but all of this is not enough. You have to convince your patient to take actions. And the way to convince him to take the actions is clearly through your report, your audit report. Therefore, identifying the threats is one thing, but that's not enough. You have to talk out with your patient to convince him really to take action. So as we said, the report should be actionable. You have to convince the management to take action.
This is the end, beautiful friend.
Final thoughts?
Well, few words that from all this discussion for me is that actionable, convince the management to take actions.
Yes.
And easy, simple, concise messages. Fair and balanced messages.
Yeah, totally agree. What time is it?
If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
It's A-Team time. So if you've got an assurance problem, if no one else can help you, then we can, because we are your assurance agony ants. Send any questions that you've got to the aplan@zohomail.eu. Osman sent his question. Hopefully, we answered that question. Thank you, Osman. First man to do so. First of many, we hope. So send your questions. We'll be happy to help. So that's all for this week, guys. This has been the A-Plan podcast. A is for assurance. And remember, when your A-Plan's good, you don't need no B-Plan.